Did you hear that sound recording in progress, or just me? Just me? Or you
I
did hear
heard
it?
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the recording's in progress, and we just well, not just, but a couple days ago we sent the master tracks, the six master gold disc master tracks were shipped carefully by FedEx to the mastering facility. Actually, not. They were sent digitally as WAV files, but we did it. We
To
com-
and to the publisher.
to the publisher. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
was thinking of to the master, but it was just a really quick turnaround. So it's like they happened within days of each other with a few tweaks. But yeah, we sent them to the master days ago, and then the master mastered, and now they're off to our official distributor in this modern world where we can just kind of do it on a website without a record deal.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing time to be a musician.
But what?
Do you want to just go through? We'll chat about some of the songs and then talk about when it's getting released and
Sure.
what people have to look forward
Yeah.
to from us in the next, you know, not too distant future, I guess.
Yeah. So the EP is called Grade School Matinee, and there is a title track. It's the first track on Grade School Matinee. One of the last tracks to get included and get completed. But there it will be when you put the record on. It'll be the first track you hear. Grade School Matinee on the EP. Grade School Matinee.
I think trying something different this time around and starting off with the title track, which is actually very slow. Um, it is not, an upbeat song. Um, but it's, I don't know, it's something different. It's kind of nice. I think it's very piano heavy on the piano, which is something that we haven't really done a lot of, even though
Yeah.
Curtis is quite a good piano player. Um, but yeah, so that's what we did with this one, and I think you guys will like it. It's a bit of a departure for us, I would say. It's a little bit more less streamlined of a pop structured song, and kind of just meanders its way from beginning to end. And I don't know, I like it.
Yeah, I guess we have one. There's one piano-driven song. I think it's the least played song on Spotify, but I won't say what it is. But if you find it on Spotify, you can DM me. But yes, up until besides that one, which I won't name, Grade School Matinee is piano-driven, and I think it also it takes a departure from how you've recorded and mixed your vocals. It's like your voice is coming in a new way, almost like. Which has happened to me a few times just because I've used a few different mixers and then all of a sudden my voice sounds different on track to track, and I've intentionally done things like what everything that could went wrong intentionally fuzzed up the voice. But I think this is the first time I've heard you sort of mix your voice differently. And I don't know if that's intentional or unintentional, but it was definitely cool to hear it come in and just hear your voice like almost in a different room, in a different space,
Yeah,
three-dimensional space.
I think like where I record, it's a bit of a multi-purpose room in the house, so there is always like there's often a setup and a takedown that goes along with every recording session. So depending on the exact location of the microphone and where I'm standing and what's around me, it affects the recorded sound. I think in this particular song, I hit on a good location in the room, a good setup with all the gear going into the computer. And it's just different in the sense that there's lots of space. The vocal sounds very kind of spacey. So
Yeah,
I also like it. I'm going to try and recreate that setup, I think, going forward if I can. Um,
yeah,
seem to work. So,
cool.
yeah. Next
Is
track.
followed by what used to be a possible first track, but is now the second track that we've added the title track to the beginning. Long distance relationship. Actually, this was one where so track two, long distance relationship. I don't think I heard the vocals or lyrics until very late in the process. Like whereas some of the later tracks that you did, I was hearing them all along. Like I knew them, I could hum them. Long distance relationship. I can't remember what it was, but it was late in. But it just the way that it was. The order that we did things. I heard this one, at least the vocals later, so it was kind of like a surprise near the end to hear sort of how it came together as a early track in the EP.
Yeah, I wrote the brunt of it when I had COVID and I was locked in a room in my house, and it's a little bit about being apart from my wife. Even though we were in the same house, we were felt like we were in a bit of a long distance relationship. Um, and yeah, it was one of those ones where I was able to record a bunch of it, and then I had worked on other things. So then it was kind of this like rush at the very end to get the vocals in, and it's definitely, I think, my favorite guitar song that I've recorded. Um, it's a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more rocking. It's got a guitar solo and lots of power chords and a neat riff. So I think you guys hope you guys will like it.
Yeah. Um, I get it. Do you want to talk about like the concept of the EP, or is that something that'll be mysterious, like an artist doesn't tell their secrets, and we don't need to get into that. The
I,
listeners can figure it out for themselves.
well, I don't know. I wanted to write songs that I think the overarching theme of the album is um, that feeling of like being young, knowing that you're getting older, and that like the youthful innocence that you had is behind you, and there's this like bittersweet feeling about that. It's like, okay, I've lost that part of me that I had when I was a kid, and that's gone, and that's maybe sad, but it's also exciting that that's gone, and like there's a there's a wide open world of fun ahead, I guess,
Yeah.
excitement and
Yeah.
a bunch of crazy things. So a little bit of sentimentality, a little bit of claustrophobia maybe is a bit of a theme because I wrote a couple songs when I was locked in a room. And the idea of like, I don't know, being a kid, skipping school to go to see the movies with your friends, and the feeling that you would have doing that is kind of something that I try to encapsulate in the songs that I included in
Yeah.
this album.
Yeah, I think that one of the strange things about the pandemic years, I think it was fun and interesting to try and recapture that feeling on some of these songs because I thought that that feeling, maybe being a teenager more than a kid, but sort of being a kid, had gone permanently. But then there were moments throughout the pandemic where maybe just I was going through a career change, or maybe it's just the origin starting again, or maybe it's a combination of things. But I had moments like weeks that went by, parts of the summers where I actually felt I had that the summer after high school feeling like, oh, I'm done a certain phase and I can just start the next phase. And so there was some like, even in kind of the weird times of the pandemic, some feelings to tap into that were similar to back then, even though they're different now. So it was a cool theme to think through. And I put some of that into the third, do I have the order right? The third song
Yeah,
on the EP.
I've been
Um,
listening nonstop, and I can assure you that you're correct. It is the third song.
yeah. Which I wrote in your basement suite. The majority of it in your basement suite when I
Wow, so
was
much was
living
written
there.
in these four walls.
Probably like I don't know, 80% of it, and then coming back to it 9 months later, or 6 to 9 months later, finishing up just how it all connects was the last thing. But the majority was written just on an acoustic guitar, and I don't know how to describe it. It just kind of has a the Police or the Say It Ain't So or Sublime style guitar chink chink on the off beats, so it has that I guess it's like it's not ska or reggae really, but it's flirting with ska and reggae a little bit just in the beat.
There's a
And
Sorry, I didn't mean
no,
to
go
cut.
ahead.
I was gonna say there's a part. I meant to look at the time on the song, like the track time today when I was listening to it in my car, but I forgot. But there's a part, maybe like a minute in, where there's a lead guitar that comes in. It's not the main
Yeah,
lead guitar. It's like kind of an atmospheric, like moody lead guitar. I don't know if you
yeah,
know what I'm talking about, but it's
Yeah, there's maybe two parts. There's like a part where it goes straight, the shuffle stops, and it kind of goes like do 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 do. And then there's a part later in the song where it's just kind of more. There's like a Beatlesy part where it goes like la 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 la
Yeah,
la
so that's
la.
later, right? That
Yeah,
part.
yeah,
So this is the first time, probably what you're talking about,
yeah,
and it's a good moment on the album.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of maybe like a little stylistic. Either it's a stylistic flourish or a stylistic crutch that I've done a couple times where kind of like in the Beast Had Horns on the single from last year, I kind of gotten enamored with this like um, the time signature, a bridge that isn't like a traditional bridge, but it's just more just like a total left field time signature change or key change or more like rhythm change that just comes out of the blue and happens. And there's one of those in the Beast Had Horns where it just goes into 7/4 time or whatever. And on this one, it's like a shuffle, do 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 do, and then it just goes straight. So that's just kind of a musical thing I played with. But yeah, thematically, it's like it's it's kind of strange. You know, it's kind of like almost like a conversation among several people about remembering um, their childhood. Almost like it's almost like there's more than one narrator, even though it's all me singing. But kind of has that feeling that people are asking. There's questions that are answered, that kind of thing. But we'll see. Yeah, some of it was recorded in San Jose, Costa Rica. So little trivia fact.
Cool. That
Yeah,
was vocals, though, right? Recorded there.
vocals. Yeah, vocals.
Yeah, the
All the
vocals sound nice.
vocals that are on it were from that session. There's nothing that isn't from there. So those they made the final cut, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hmm. Track 4 is called "We Were Kids." This is another one that I wrote in when I was in lockdown. And when I was in lockdown, I was like literally in a room for 10 days. I would use a bathroom in the house that was kind of my own little bathroom, but apart from that, I was just inside of a room with my guitar. So at the time, I was reading an article about Foster the People and how he wrote Pumped Up Kicks. And I think he was very disciplined and he like locked himself in a room until he finished the song. So I thought, well, I'm kind of locked in a room. So maybe I'll try and do something like that. And then I was listening to a lot of Foster the People. So I wanted to include some synth sounds. So there's a very prominent lead synth um, in the chorus. And that particular song, I think it is most directly about what I said before, which is like growing up and realizing that you are growing up from maybe like an early teen, um, and you have this wide expanse of life in front of you, and you have to start making all these choices, and they're hard, and some of the paths you go down are going to be, um, I don't know, difficult or challenge you, and
Yeah.
not really corrupt you, but change you in some ways, and then looking back on it and saying, well, we were kids once. And it's also nice because Curtis and I both sing in the chorus, and we were friends as kids, so it's kind of like thinking back to, I don't know, Curtis and I going on bike rides when we were 13.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Life life presents you infinity doors and then you have to pick one and infinity minus one doors close and you make your choice and then there's just more infinity when you're 19 than when you're older. There's still like good paths to go down, but there's not like this infinity in front of you. Like my whole life is ahead of me because I'm in grade 12 or whatever.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
I don't know what
And
else to say about that. There's a very intentional, like fake sounding drums.
mhm,
Intentionally, like I want it to sound like a computer is playing the drums.
yeah,
The entire song is the same four chords. The bass line never changes. Um, but I wanted that, like pumped up kicks, I guess. I think
yeah.
there's a word for it when the
Some,
verses and the chorus are the same chords.
yeah.
Um,
I don't. It's probably not the word you. It's like a mantra, but that's not the word you're looking for. But like,
yeah, there's different like
yeah,
music specific to music, but
yeah,
um, a lot of my favorite songs are like that.
yeah,
Anyway, so that's what the song is like. The bass line is the same throughout, and the drums are kind of the same, but it's meant to hopefully kind of get that sort of not groove, but this feeling of like talk myself into a corner. Meditative almost, like it's just the
Hmm.
same thing that keeps repeating in some ways. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're gonna like it. I hope you like it.
And
Should we go
then
on?
yeah, let's do it.
The next one is called Adam and Rachel, and this song again is about. It was inspired by a guy that I know named Adam. It was not really about him, but I'd written the first line for the first verse maybe a year ago, and I remember showing it to Curtis, and I was like, "Hey, I want to make a song out of this." And then one day, I think I was recording one of the other songs, and I was done for the day, but I had some time, so I thought I'm just gonna record this song that I have this line for right now, and just do it because like so much of my time is spent like planning and recording things and then deleting it and then re-recording and then listening to it for a few weeks and then thinking it's not good enough and then scrapping it and then re-recording again. But this time I was like, I'm just gonna do it and see what happens. And then it turned into Adam and Rachel, um, which I try to tap into maybe a little bit of like Killer's inspiration or like a Death Cab for Cutie kind of inspiration where there's like some droning synths.
Hmm.
Um, but then on the other hand, there's some very like heavy guitars. I
Yeah,
like it. Yeah.
the guitars overall on this EP, I think I think it's fair to say are like the best ever
Yeah,
in
I'm
last
happy with
years.
how they're sounding. Yeah.
I mean, there's some interesting and great guitars on Sleep So Deep and on Make Up Your Mind and on Town and Country. um, I'm trying to think like yeah, I mean there's great guitar everywhere, but this one it kind of consistently all the way through. Um, maybe the last one, Catalunya, is the only one that isn't that really have any that isn't that guitar driven. But 5 out of 6 are have really cool guitar ideas. I think in all of them in some way or another.
A Grade School Matinee is
Oh,
okay.
that's right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. 4 out of 6.
It's easy to gloss over that one.
Yeah.
um,
um,
yeah, I don't know. I think it was just kind of like, oh, I have these guitars here. I'm all set up. I'm done for the day with what I have to do. So let's just.
yeah. Yeah. Final track. Anything more on the
The other
first
thing with
five?
Adam and Rachel, I was going to say is that it's almost like a song in two parts where it's sort of the heavy guitars that sort of ends and then starts this piano thing
Mm-hmm.
um, that is designed to be a bit more like um, I don't know, dreamlike, maybe not really dreamlike, but kind of like when what's that Arcade Fire song? Wake Up. Is it Wake Up?
Is that the one with the bass line? Not
No,
Rebellion
that's
Lies. No.
Rebellion Lies. Wake Up is the one that
It's
um,
kind of has the guitar at the beginning.
dun, 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 oh.
Isn't that Rebellion Lies?
Maybe it is.
Maybe not. No.
Anyway, there's
Okay.
a
Yeah.
song by
Okay.
Arcade
That
Fire
one.
where
Yeah. That one. Yeah. If it's Wake
the
Up.
end
Yeah.
is like different rhythm, very different than the beginning,
Yeah.
and in a small way, I wanted to do something that was kind of similar. So
Okay. Yeah. That's Wake Up.
it's the
Yeah.
one that they played
Yeah.
before you two hit the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, something. Dum, da, da. Um, yeah, I know the one. It's like 17 or 20 years old now, but I know the one.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Last track.
Last track. Uh, Catalunya, the name for Catalonia, the Spanish region in Spain, but in the local language, Catalan, that they speak in Barcelona. It's called Catalunya. Which is kind of like, I don't know, maybe that's a very literary thing to be like calling something by the name it's called where it is and not what foreigners call it is maybe some subconscious literary thing going on. But that's not why people listen to music. They listen because music is fun to listen to. So the actual music, I guess like the story of this one is like I tried to make this song in late 2020, but I wasn't good enough. Like I couldn't play. There was just kind of this guitar that was diminished chords and like three string chords up on the top three strings, switching between B flats and E flats and F sharp diminished and Bs and G7s and all that kind of stuff. Where like I could play it like a strum on my own, but I couldn't put it to a click track in recording because I was, only a few months into learning how to record properly to a click track and like on time and perfectly through a full song. So it was kind of like a failed attempt to record it in late 2020, around the time of like maybe a B side for Make Up Your Mind. But it came back, I think, both in terms of being able to sing it and play it. I was ready more now in 2022 after, you and me making 17 songs or together or whatever we've done. It kind of just like became ready. And yeah, I couldn't even say like what band inspires it. It sort of came out of nowhere. I don't really know what the influences are, except the just kind of the feeling of being near the Mediterranean Sea and describing a day in the Barcelona area and kind of just trying to capture certain feelings like the waves lapping up on the sea. And this is sort of like the place where history has happened. It's kind of like sad or something as well that um, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm explaining the joke too much, but it's hard to say that it's inspired by like other sounds, genres, or bands, where usually that's how a song comes about. Like as much as you don't want to admit it, you might be trying to, okay, I'm trying to sound like this band. At least that's a guide. But this one, it was more just like I'm trying to start from nothing and capture what that night and day felt like, 4 or 5 years ago when I was in Barcelona, and this is what came out of it. And so there's like an instrumental part that's just meant to capture like standing and watching waves roll in as the tide changes. And yeah, it's just pretty like elemental and just trying to capture a feeling, which is not usually how I write songs. I will say, I will admit, like I'm not trying to like make it. I'm not trying to like do it like a photograph. This was like trying to recreate a photograph. Usually, me writing a song is much more like engineering a skyscraper or like building a dock or something, rather than like what's that photograph? I'm going to try and recapture it. So this was kind of fun to write a song that way. Maybe it's how more songwriters do it normally, but kind of a different way for me.
Do you think that moving forward you'll do more of this, or you'll like blend the two approaches?
I think I'll try and blend the two. Yeah, I think it's just like something to always. I think I think any songwriter's lying if they say I just kind of lay back and feel my feelings, and all of the bass lines and guitar lines and the vocal harmonies just sort of flow like there's engineering to be done. There's like, okay, how are we
Yeah.
gonna stick
No,
this
you're
together?
totally right. Yeah.
And so
Same.
I've always like focused on that part. But of course, like it's art. Um, it's not just solving a math equation. There is the art to it. So yeah, hopefully it's just like it's something that can continue to be done um, in future. Just like capturing a specific feeling. But I mean, isn't I guess maybe that's always supposed to be the point. But yeah. Usually a song I write starts with a melody that I want to turn into a song,
Yeah.
and this was a feeling that I wanted to turn into a song, which is a different starting point.
Right. I see. Well, I think it came across well. It's a nice closer. It
Yeah,
kind of reminds me of how Sleep So Deep closed the Sleep So Deep album. It
yeah,
like there's parts where it becomes a bit like dreamlike maybe, and it sort of like lulls the album to a finale,
yeah,
and until you hit the replay button, start it from
yeah,
scratch, start from track one again.
yeah.
We hope you do.
Just play
No
that
worries.
play that
Uh,
album shuffle button on Spotify and Apple Music. Just let it play.
yeah,
Not shuffle. Repeat album.
yeah.
So we can get those streams.
Um, so we're expecting this to be out on streaming platforms on June 25th. Is that like midnight on June 25th is going to be available, or is that sometime during the day?
Uh, it could be different times during the day depending on the platform.
But it will
Spotify,
be
Apple.
okay.
Yeah.
But it will be
Uh,
that day.
will be that day, yeah. The day would start midnight, June 24th, like the day that it's being released, and then
Okay.
I imagine it would populate throughout the day. Usually it's pretty. I haven't like gotten up and refreshed, so I don't know exactly what times, but it shows up on that day, not the next day or
Yeah.
midnight of that
Okay.
day.
Yeah, and I think leading up to it, we're gonna do a bit more. You'll see us a bit more on social media, and maybe have a little bit of some promotional stuff going on. So hopefully you get excited for
Yeah,
that, and hopefully you're excited to hear the new songs. I know we're excited to release them. And there's always this thing like you spend so much time and effort on whatever crop of songs you're working on that by the time you've listened to each of them like 400 times because you're like tweaking tweaking like a small EQ frequency and then like listening in your car to see if it sounds better or worse and then retweaking it and then like just doing that over and over with different parameters with different songs. By the time you're done, you're just excited for what's coming next because you want a clean slate. So
yeah,
um, I know I can speak, I think for both of us to say that we're excited for what's coming next. And I think what you'll notice, especially from going from Sleep So Deep, which was a little bit more, I would say it was a bit more guitar based drums only. And like
hmm
it had its moments for sure. Like I really like that album as a cohesive album, but I think this one pushes the boundaries a little bit more of what we want to do and what we're capable of as we get better and better at writing, recording, and releasing our own music. So I think the next one is just going to be kind of even more in that positive direction, and we're very excited about what's coming next. So
yeah.
we have a
Check it out.
lot of nuggets, at least for myself, that I've been holding on to, um, waiting for when our kind of abilities as recording artists can catch up to the visions. And I think that we're we're getting there. We're we're there. We're getting very close. So excited about this release and excited about what's going to come after.
Yeah. I guess I've probably been trying to record songs and recording songs that are beyond my abilities, so I apologize for that. I should probably do more of what you're doing.
Yeah, I probably have. Yeah, I probably have to. All right. Well, should we call it there?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, thanks for
Okay.
watching, and stay tuned for June 25th, um, Curtis's birthday, and also the release of
Yeah.
the next EP.
Grade school matinee on June 25th, my birthday. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Deezer, Tidal, other things.
Bandcamp.
We're not on any of the Russian platforms anymore because of the sanctions. Not that anyone ever looked, but we did have streams there. But I mean, I stand with Ukraine, so we won't be
Yeah.
we won't be releasing it in Russia. So
We were actually thinking of taking everything down from Spotify until we took
yeah,
down Joe Rogan, but
yeah,
we decided that we
yeah,
needed we
yeah,
needed their
yeah.
we needed the platform.
I was texting with Neil Young, and we'll see how it goes. But
Okay.
yeah.
Sounds good. All right, thanks guys.
All
We'll
right.
talk to you later.